Hello, good listeners, and welcome to another episode of Tales from the Mennonite Heritage Archives, a show about people, places, and events from Mennonite history. I'm your host, Dan Dick. Today's episode involves a pig pen and a baby. But first, archivist and founder of this program, Conrad Stace, joins me. What's the news?
Well, first of all, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has supported the program after we asked this past September for donations. With that help, we'll be able to keep on going till about March.
I'm glad for the extra episodes, but March seems not very far away.
That's true. The Tales program is a special project entirely funded by above-budget donations. So we raise funds for the Archives program itself, and this show is a special project.
I sense a question coming up.
Yeah, so my message is really basic. We need your financial support to carry on. Donations of any size are welcome. I invite listeners to make a Christmas donation in honor of a hard-to-shop-for person, or in memory of someone special, or just because you love our stories.
Okay, folks, you've heard from the boss himself. Stay tuned till the end of this episode, and Conrad will share various ways to give. Thanks for coming in, Conrad.
Thanks for the opportunity, Dan.
Now, back to our story about a pig pen and a baby. Before we get into this week's story, I need to warn listeners that this episode contains descriptions of violence. The story of the cast-off child is not well known today. The sources for most of today's episode comes from two biographies held at the MHA. One is by Wilhelm Big Bill Entz, a popular storyteller and regular newspaper correspondent in the 1920s. The second is written by the cast-off child himself. Our story begins on a chilly April morning in 1863. Picture Maria Dirksen crossing the backyards of her neighbors in a village in the Bergtal colony in Imperial Russia. She is astonished to find a small bundle in a pig pen. Wrapped inside the bundle is a newborn baby. Maria quickly snatches the baby out of the pig pen and takes him home to warm him. Unbundling him, she finds a cord tied around his neck. Someone has tried to kill the child. Maria and her husband Johann have no children of their own and have no means to feed a newborn. Johann, a doctor for the colony, fetches the neighbors, the Harders, who have just welcomed their own baby boy named Jacob. Could Mrs. Harder nurse this foundling? The Harders agree. Mr. Harder says, "You can't leave a child alone like a cast-off dog." Dr. Dirksen informs Jacob Peters, the reeve of the colony. Peters calls a council meeting to discuss the situation. The community is divided on the issue. Some want to help by providing clothing and blankets for the baby. Others feel the child will be a burden. The Harders name the baby Johann and agree to care for him until he can eat solid food. Then he'll go back to Maria and Dr. Dirksen's home. While at the Harders, baby Johann is almost killed again. Mrs. Harder puts Johann and Jacob into their cribs and goes outside to work in the garden. While getting a tool from the shed, she pops into the house to check on the babies. Jacob is sound asleep, but Johann is gone. Mrs. Harder runs to the barn to tell her husband, only to find Johann in their horse's stall. Remarkably, the horse held up its hoof to keep from trampling Johann. Here, the story of the cast-off child takes an interesting turn. Author Big Bill describes a young mother who has recently given birth. She is taken in by an older couple, but none of them want the baby to live. We learn that the older woman tied the cord around the neck of Johann, and the older man placed Johann in the pig pen. The young mother is upset that her unwanted baby is still alive. We're told it is hard for her to understand that Johann is an innocent child. Time passes. Johann joins the Dirksen household, cared for by Maria and Dr. Dirksen, and he eventually goes to school. A cruel schoolteacher treats Johann so brutally that he often runs away. Johann's friend, Abram Penner, is also targeted by the teacher, in addition to being abused at home. At one point, the teacher ties the boys to a post and beats them without mercy. Johann is beaten so hard that he starts to bleed. Maria reports the teacher to Reeve Peters, who warns the teacher that he will be fired immediately if he abuses the boys again. A cruel teacher and the judgment of the village are just two of Johann's troubles. Unbelievably, his birth mother is still trying to kill him. Despite her failed attempts with the pig pen and the horse, she often chases Johann and tries to strangle him. To escape her, Johann runs up the hill at Schoenfeld and hides between the rocks, sitting there for hours. Maria and Dr. Dirksen try to keep him safe, but when Johann hides, even Maria can't find him. When he is still a young boy, Maria grows ill and dies. Just 10 months after her death, Dr. Dirksen marries another woman to take care of Johann, and a family that continues to grow. In 1873, Mennonites from the Bergtal colony start moving to North America. By the time Johann is 11 years old, the Dirksens decide they will move to Canada. Johann assumes he will go with them. Maybe he would finally be safe from his birth mother. In his excitement, Johann prepares to visit his friend Abram Penner to share the good news. Johann is hardly out the door when his birth mother blocks him and tries to strangle him with her bare hands. Johann fights with all his might. He is about to pass out when her grip on him loosens, and he escapes. Johann runs to his hiding place up the hill among the rocks. He stays there late into the evening before deciding it's safe to sneak home. The new Mrs. Dirksen is waiting for him. She tells him they will not take Johann with them to North America. She believes the village should help pay for taking care of Johann. Dr. Dirksen does not share his new wife's point of view, but after some thought, he reluctantly agrees to leave Johann behind. Johann is devastated. From underneath a tree in the yard, he watches as neighbors say goodbye to the Dirksens. As their wagon fades from view, Johann is overcome and faints. No one stepped up to help him. He has nowhere to go, nowhere to sleep, and nothing to eat or drink. Johann's friend, Abram Penner, tries to convince his mother to take Johann in, but Mrs. Penner harshly refuses. She says, "Do not bring that pig brat into this yard, and certainly not into this house." Johann is still under the tree when Reeve Peters walks home at the end of the day. "Johann, haven't you left yet?" Reeve Penner asks. Johann replies in tears, "The others have all gone, but they didn't want to take me along." Reeve Peters promptly invites Johann to spend the night at his house. His wife, Elizabeth, gives Johann food, water, and a place to sleep. After Johann goes to bed, the Peters talk and soon decide to give Johann a permanent home. Over time, Johann begins to feel safe with the Peters family. They raise him as one of their own. Soon, the conversation of emigrating to North America comes up again, and the Peters are very keen to leave Russia. Johann is worried. What if he gets left behind again? But when the Peters buy new traveling clothes for him and the other Peters children, he knows that this time he will go along too. The journey from the Bergtal colony is long and hard. Trains and boats deliver them to Liverpool, England, where they board a huge steamship bound for North America. Johann has never seen anything like it. It takes 2 weeks to cross the Pacific Ocean. Johann enjoys watching icebergs float past them. The family arrives in Quebec City on the SS Sardinian on July 30th, 1876. Johann is 13 years old. The family's journey ends in Niverville, a village on the East Reserve on land set aside for Mennonites arriving in Manitoba. Johann is finally free from the terror of his stalking birth mother and with a family who love and respect him. In 1882, at the age of 19, Johann chooses to join the church. He registers for catechism classes to prepare for baptism. Reeve Peters is happy to register him, but church records need an official name for Johann. Johann has a decision to make. Will his last name be Dirksen, after the people who found him and raised him? Should he be Harder, after Mrs. Harder who nursed him? Or should it be Peters, the family who ultimately gave him safety and a permanent home. After pondering the decision, Johann decides to take the Peters family name. Johann grows up helping the Peters family on their farm in Niverville. When he is old enough, he purchases a farm plot on Manitoba's West Reserve and takes up a bachelor's life. One of his neighbors, Peter Falk, has 3 daughters. Johann introduces himself to Mr. Falk and meets the eldest daughter, Katerina. She insists he stay for coffee and dinner. Johann is eager to join them. Johann is smitten with Katerina. She returns his interest by continuing to invite him for coffee. One evening, after Johann leaves, Mr. Falk says to Katerina, "It's a miracle that boy came away alive." "What do you mean?" she asks. "He was found in a pig pen," exclaims Mr. Falk. "Several families took turns taking care of him, and some even left him at the Bergtal colony before coming to North America. Reeve Peters gave him a permanent home." Katerina takes in this new information. Given the abuse that Johann has suffered, she's amazed at how kind and gentle he is. She continues warmly welcoming Johann every time he arrives to help Mr. Falk on the farm. Johann is happy to help Mr. Falk, but really he just wants to see Katerina. As time passes, the community senses the couple will unite someday, and sure enough, they marry on March 20th, 1889, in Rhineland, Manitoba. Johann is 26, and Katerina is 21. A happy couple, Johann and Katerina raise 10 children together before Katerina passes away of unknown causes in 1916. They were married for 25 years. Though he still misses Katerina, Johann remarries, making Agnetha Wall his second wife. Together, they add 7 children more to a family that eventually totals 17 children. On September 12, 1946, in Morris, Manitoba, Johann passes away. He was 83 years old. This story was told by Johann Peters himself to Wilhelm Big Bill Entz. It was published in the community newspaper, the Steinbach Post, in 1942. The story does not tell us why Johann was unwanted by his mother. Who Johann's birth mother was remains a mystery. In the biography of Johann Peters, a note says his birth mother's name was Trin. No family name is given. The Steinbach Post story says her name was Netzel. Big Bill used diaries and letters from the Bergtal colony, learning that she worked as a maid in Schönfeld, Imperial Russia, and that Johann was born in a house owned by someone named Petrovich. We don't know if Netzel and Petrovich were related, but the Mennonite genealogical database, Grandma Online, says Johann's birth mother was Netzel Petrovich. The number of times Johann Peters' story has been published indicates it continues to resonate in the Mennonite community. It's a story of bad luck and indifference from Johann's community, but also a story of resilience and compassion. To find out more about Johann Peters and see images related to his life, visit mharchives.ca. You can also find the digitized collection of the Steinbach Post there. We're always happy to receive comments and questions about this program. Contact us by email to info@mharchives.ca.
Hello, I'm Archivist Conrad Stace. The Mennonite Heritage Archives is a community-supported memory center that relies on donations from community members like you. To support this program and the preservation of Mennonite history, visit mharchives.ca and click on Support, or give us a call at 204-560-1998. Thanks also to our partners, Canadian Mennonite University, the Centre for Transnational Mennonite Studies, Mennonite Church Canada, and Golden West Radio.
In an upcoming episode, I'll talk with international guest Patrick Friesen from the Menno Colony in Paraguay, its history, and what makes the community tick today. Remember that you can find over 50 episodes of Tales from the Mennonite Heritage Archives at mharchives.ca. Thanks for listening.